invite you to join with me in the invocation. Dear Lord, we are thankful this day for the blessings you bestow on us. We start a new year with memories of what is behind us and looking forward to what is ahead. We ask for health, growth, prosperity, and safety for all of our residents, and that the year be filled with success for our city. Lord, lead us to make the right decisions for all so that we may grow our city. Let all of our considerations be guided by your hands. We ask this prayer in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
First, is approval of minutes. Consider approval of the minutes for the December 18th regular and closed meeting, December 19th special and closed meeting, and the December 20th special and closed meeting.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Townsend, second by Councilmember Hall. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we're going to move into a series of public hearings. The first one is ordinance 2401 to consider the annexation of 2.29 acres on Anderson Grove Church Road, tax number 12379 and 12403. I'll ask staff to introduce.
Thank you, Mayor. The applicant for this is Antoine Lilly. As you mentioned, these are tax records 12379 and 12403 on Anderson Grove Church Road. This is right about 2.29 acres. These are two properties. Mr. Lilly owns the property on Anderson Grove Church Road right now that is already inside the city. Towards the rear of that property, there is a house right now. The rest of this larger 3+ acre tract is vacant. What is proposed is single-family dwellings. If approved, the annexation is approved. They have requested R15 in the subsequent public hearing. That would allow for up to 8 single-family detached units. More practically, though, when you look at getting access to those units, it's probably going to be about 5 to 6 single-family detached units once you have to get a road in there. Probably be cost prohibitive, and what Mr. Lilly's proposing right now is 4 units, all accessing directly onto Anderson Grove Church Road, which with road separation for DOT standards and everything is probably the best situation for this property. City water and sewer is available on Anderson Grove Church Road. Electrical is also provided by the city of Albemarle. This is located within the fire service area, fire station. I've got 2 on there, and I apologize, that should be 1 at 1.6 miles. Staff did not do a revenue analysis on a property this small. However, there's no additional infrastructure that's proposed at this time. We would imagine that the revenues on this would be positive revenue for the city, and similar to what you see next door in Anderson Grove, Anderson Ridge, and other neighborhoods. The city's future land use map classifies as parcel and surrounding areas as county primary and secondary growth area. And let's see, the breakdown on that the city has on the actual uses within that is actually designated as multifamily neighborhood now. Again, what is requested on this to follow annexation is R15, which is single family. It's our smallest or largest lot zoning district. These properties are located in a regulated watershed. Therefore, the R15 request. They cannot be developed at more than 3 units per acre. Properties do not contain any floodplain. There's no other easily definable development constraints apart from the property dimensions and the location of the properties. Here you can see the highlighted properties. Again, Mr. Lilly owns this property right here, as well as these 2 to the rear. For whatever reason, the star did not show up, but this is where it would normally be on the future land use map. Here are the aerials, and here is a view of the property with that house on it.
Kevin, is that multifamily at the top there?
There's no multifamily in this area that I'm aware of.
What are that high density? Is that what that is up there?
So county right now, county's future land use, and I should have shown that, everything on the outside here, this is located in county's growth area, and it designates it as multifamily. Up to multifamily is what it designates it as. I think it might be a little bit hard to get multifamily there with the restrictions of the watershed. Um, But by bringing it into the city, we can actually zone it for something that's appropriate.
Mr. Bramlett, you may be looking at the Anderson Ridge subdivision where all those houses are. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, I was looking at that third photograph.
I think you're looking at the Anderson
Right
Ridge
there,
subdivision.
right
Yeah, no, these are single family. This is Anderson Ridge right here.
Those are single family.
Yeah, those are single family units.
Now, the county has one house on 3 acres, right?
In RA, yes, which is what these two properties are currently zoned as.
And that's a little spike into the city.
A little spike.
I mean,
Currently, yes, there's a little spike that's in the city.
that property.
Everything
is
around
split
it
on 3 sides with city.
It's already in the city, yes.
Yeah, you can see right here.
It's landlocked, in other
For whatever
words.
reason, there was a large annexation that occurred well before my time here on Anderson Grove Church Road, and it runs approximately 100, 150 feet on the other side of the road there. And this was probably annexed when this was built. This was annexed, and then this has not been annexed yet. Therefore, it kind of reflects what you see down here.
Question.
Yes.
So I have in front of me opened up one of the attachments that was within the body of the agenda. And it's looked like the plat. Did you have that up in front of us or not?
We don't have a plat for this
Okay, well,
yet.
hold on a minute.
Survey.
It's a survey. Do you have the survey on? Did you have the
Yeah.
survey up there? Yeah, I meant survey, not plat. The first attachment.
Wait,
Thank
hang on. Yeah,
It's the
that's
first
it. See if it opens.
one. Maybe, maybe not.
Now it'll do it.
Thank you. Yeah, the last page. Yeah, there we go. So on this, can you use the mouse and to highlight so I've got my head? There you go.
This right here, this section.
I know that's the section, and
Yeah.
show me if you can where Anderson Road is on
Right
there.
here.
So he's wanting all. What did I understand you? Then all 4 of those.
Yeah, what they will probably do is probably build a shared driveway in the middle here and do flag lots, and they'll have the drive that comes back, and they'll probably have a couple houses back here and a couple in the front.
The first issue for us tonight is not this. The first issue is just the annexation.
Yeah.
I think that's where we get too many things in here at one time.
You have any further, Robinson?
No, I have nothing else.
Council have any questions, Mr. Robinson? Okay, then I have Antoine Lilly and John Harris Lilly, whoever wants to speak,
If needed.
if needed, okay? Council have any questions for the property owners? I'll entertain a motion that we close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Townsend to close the public hearing, second by Councilmember Hall. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. I'll entertain ordinance 2401.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-01.
Second.
Motion by
Second.
Councilmember Townsend to approve ordinance 2401, second by Councilmember Hall. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Moving on to 4B is ordinance 2402, the rezoning of 2 parcels, tax 12379 and 12403, totaling 2.29 acres from county RA to city R15. Staff, will you introduce?
Thank you. These are the 2 aforementioned properties. These are zoned Stanley County RA right now. They have proposed these to be R15, Conservation Residential District. To To the north, these are zoned R10 residential use. To the south, R10 residential use. To the east, RA vacant agricultural use, and to the west, city R10, as well as some vacant uses. As I mentioned before, city sewer and water are available, and the future land use map does classify this parcel as primary growth area. Again, here are the properties. Properties of moderate slopes but are generally developable. There's no easily evident streams or wetlands on site. Properties are partially cleared at present, and there are no easements we are aware of. Property is not located in a regulated floodplain. They are located within the regulated watershed, limiting residential development to 3 units per acre. Other than that, there does not appear to be any other significant environmental impacts on the properties.
And
Yes.
what they're planning is only to,
Yes. Planning and zoning did unanimously recommend for the rezoning of this to R15 with a consistency statement. We have provided the statements for you here. There's the consistency statement, and we've also included the ordinance in your packet.
council, what's your wishes?
Is
Well,
this a
first,
public hearing?
First, let me ask, do you have any questions of Kevin? Do you have any questions of the property owner? Then I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
We ask if there's anybody else to speak.
Thank you. Anybody else care to speak for or against?
Move to
Close public hearing.
second.
Motion by Councilman Nelson to close the public hearing, second by Councilmember Hall. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you for the reminder.
That takes a village.
Now ordinance 2402. Council, how do you want to proceed?
Move to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Hall to
Second.
approve ordinance 2402, second by Councilmember Dry. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next, we'll move to 4C, ordinance 2403, text amendment 2401, amendments to the chapters 21 and 92 of the Historic Preservation Commission. Staff, if you'll introduce.
Thank you. I was going to have Brittany here, but she is under the weather tonight, so I'm going to do my best with this one. We've made a lot of amendments to our floodplain and HRC ordinances over the years, but this is the last step that we've got in order to get our certified local government. These are the recommended changes they had. They're relatively minor and administrative. And these are across 2 different sections. One is in our chapter 21, which is the powers and duties of the board. And that is, they wanted something in there about the applications for certificates of appropriateness and acting on those. So we did add that in. Not to exceed 180 days from the date the application for certificate of appropriateness is filed. And was self-explanatory, and she suggested we remove that. The rest of these are just reorganization.
Council, have any questions for staff?
I've got just one other one, Mayor.
Sure.
If I can ever find it.
Chapter 92.
Yeah, I'll get there eventually. Okay, and this is, for some reason, came out in blue. Again, this was a redundancy that they wanted removed. It says, in cases where the commission deems it necessary, it may hold a quasi-judicial hearing concerning an application for a certificate of appropriateness. Any certificate of appropriateness hearing is quasi-judicial by nature, so they didn't feel that was necessary to have in there. And again, the rest there's some reorganization changes in there. Other than that, I believe that was all that we had on this one.
Kevin, on page 6, she requested the North Carolina Department of Cultural Resources to be changed to North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources. That needs to occur. That's in
Did
her-
we not have that in here?
It's on page 6 where it needs to be corrected.
Okay.
6 of 27.
Okay. Then staff would propose that be a change be made with that condition, or if approved. that
Disapproved
condition
with
be-
that condition.
Yes, thank you.
There's a couple places it's written there.
Yeah.
Council, have any further questions of staff?
It's because of the red lines, sometimes it's hard to catch them all.
I know that it was in there originally, and I apologize that we didn't keep that.
Move approval with those.
Close the public hearing.
Oh, that's right.
Motion by Councilmember Hall to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Aldridge. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Now I entertain.
Takes a
motion on-
village, Ronnie,
Yeah, I
takes a
need to
village.
entertain a motion on the ordinance.
Move to approve ordinance 2403 with text amendment 2401 with those amendments as noted tonight.
Motion by Councilmember Hall,
Second.
second by Councilmember Hunt. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
And I appreciate y'all catching that.
Takes a village again, takes a village.
Council, I have no agenda adjustments. We'll move to unannounced delegations. I have a few members who wish to speak on an item in new business that will come up later. Since this is not a public hearing, I need to allow you to speak under the unannounced delegations. But I need you to understand something about the 9A, the subdivision. This was rezoned and annexed probably over 40 years ago, back when the city made a major annexation. And what comes before council tonight is merely a administrative approval. If anything is wrong, it has to be in violation of our planning and zoning ordinances. So as you come up to speak, if there's something wrong with planning and zoning ordinances, please point it out to me. Otherwise, council has no reason to turn this down unless it violates our ordinances. So I'll bring you up one at a time. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Roger Martin, 1810 Lafayette Drive. Yes, sir. Come on.
Mayor, members of council, I think my main concern with all this, and just a question, does any of this eventually end up with a scenario where another road might be attached into Lafayette Drive or Bellamy Circle or something like that?
At this point, it looks to be landlocked to Mockingbird only. Mr. Robinson, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks to be landlocked from the designs in the agenda that it could not reach Bellamy unless somebody sold them some property, and then I guess it could.
Yeah, we had to require it. They do leave some right of way there. That's primarily to access that property to the rear there, as well as the sewer. Somebody comes back there in the future and wants to put a road back there and they can acquire property, then they can. But I believe it's going to be pretty difficult to do that with the sewer and the creek and everything back there.
And does that have to have any kind of approval, or can they just?
It depends on how many lots. If it's a major subdivision, then it would.
But I'm specifically that one.
Well, and I take that back. It would require approval because the street would be extended. There would be new street being put in, so that would require approval.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're good. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Can I ask a question real quick while Kevin's up here? Mr. Robinson, this council, I voted not to approve it, but several weeks or months ago now, the land that's on Mountain Creek Road, across the street from North Albemarle Church.
Yes.
How many homes did this council approve for that?
That was 92.
92.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you come out Lafayette Drive to where Park Ridge Road is at, and I hate to put you on the spot, but right across there, right across from where Lafayette Drive comes out to Park Ridge.
I think Lafayette comes out on Ridge, right?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Ridge. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Where Lafayette comes out on Ridge, right across the street there. How many home sites were approved in there?
That's 75. They're single family now. They've reduced the number of units they had there originally. They were doing duplexes, and I think they had 80 something of those. They've reduced that down. They're doing 75 single family.
Okay, thank you.
Next is Robert Johnson's 1724 Bellamy Circle.
Yes, I only have one question as to how that plat is drawn. It looks like the two houses on the what I believe to be the south end impinge on the sewer right of way.
Mr. Robinson, will you come up and pull that up so everybody can look at it at the same time?
I don't believe I have.
Hold on,
It's in our
Yeah.
agenda.
it's in,
Yeah, I don't know if we've got the civil set with the sewer and everything. The plan
Well,
is
it
to,
shows
You can see it on it.
yeah,
you can.
and that's not abnormal. The big thing is not to have the sewer right of way inside the We're
But it
underneath
shows
houses
it
and everything.
is.
No, there's no sewer going underneath the house or anything like that. I mean, everything's to the back there. We have sewer that goes through all
But
sorts of
is that
properties.
property, I hike that all the time.
Well, I understand, yeah,
And
Mr. Robinson, pull it up, please.
okay.
It's the third, it will be the third attachment, I believe.
Yep. Sewer runs right through here.
yes, and that's where they show,
Yeah, there's no houses or anything like that going on top of that, so
no, but
it would be done as an easement on the property.
but does that cut off access for people hiking down the sewer easement? That's my question.
Oh, okay, now I got you.
Well, I mean, to be honest, this was private property before this ran through, so it would be entirely up to this property owner if they wanted to allow that to continue.
The easement is private property?
The city has an easement, but they don't own the property.
Yeah, it's not open for, I mean, and that's fine. I mean, a lot of times property owners will allow you to do that, but technically this was this larger piece, this larger property right here, these are being subdivided from, it went through
okay.
that, so.
One of the problems I have with the town of Albemarle is there's no sidewalks anywhere to hike in or to walk down when I walk my dogs or anything else. And I thought, like other cities that I've lived in North Carolina, the sewer easement belonged to the city. And what they've done in the other towns like Cary, Raleigh, Winston-Salem, and all of that is down the sewer easements, they put greenways.
And we've done that in some places
places,
too.
but
Yeah, but-
they don't.
And that is in our long-range plans, but even when we do it, we have to go to the property owner and let them understand and give us another easement to put that on there. Our easement now is restricted to nothing but the sewer. So if we want to put a greenway on there, we have to get another easement from the property owners to allow that.
And we've got a mixed bag. We have some property the city owns outright that the sewers go through, and so that's no problem. And then others, if it's just an easement, then it's really just for access to maintain those.
Well, the sewer runs down right through the center, and it's just a creek that runs down on top of the sewer just about, so. Okay, not happy with it, but
I understand. Thank you, sir. Cabin Holbrook, 803 Lafayette. Jack, is it Pewrod? Penrod, okay. 1726 Bellamy Circle.
I had three things, but I guess two of them aren't applicable. My main concern was drainage. I assume that's already been taken into account because it's a very low area. And I was concerned the possibility of how much it's going to have to be built up to build these homes because it's, like I said, a very low area. So, and the other thing I had a question about was essentially the same idea as Lafayette and Ridge is already a pretty hazardous intersection right now. Any more traffic going in there and you're going to have some problems. So if things are built there in the future, a lot of homes that have to access Ridge Road from Lafayette, probably going to have a stoplight put in there, or you're going to have a lot of accidents. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. That's everyone I have signed up to speak on that. I'll move on now to the municipal calendar. In your agenda, council have any questions or comments? Move on to the consent agenda, resolution 2401, accepting revised loan offer for phase 3 sanitary sewer I&I project. If council will remember, staff and engineer came to us to do some extra on that project, and we needed to get some additional funding. The state has approved that additional funding at the low interest rate, so that would be what you're looking at there. 8B is to declare surplus of assorted public utility scrap metal. And 8C is resolution 2402, to hold a public hearing to ban a section of existing Unity Drive for Unity Walk subdivision.
Move to
So-
approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Aldridge to approve the consent agenda, second by Councilmember Hall. Further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Council will move into new business. Major subdivision 2401 to consider a 10-lot additional subdivision on Mockingbird Road. Staff, would you
Yes.
explain?
And I think
Pull
it,
that one
it
up.
stands well while Kevin is bringing it up to just once again say that this is already in the city. This is
Right.
something that was part of the city and made part of the city years and years ago.
Yeah, what we're talking about tonight is just allowing the major subdivision to put the houses in.
10 houses?
Correct. Yeah.
Right,
On 4 acres.
right.
So this subdivision by Press Pro, you can see the approximate location here. I would note that there is, where you see right here, there is a triangle, a corner of this that will remain by itself. I don't believe there's much that can be done with the land. It is low land, as everyone mentioned. It's not floodplain, but it is most likely wetland, and that is where the sewer easement and the creek run through. But that would remain private property and not part of this actual subdivision. So in certain parts there is that does provide some of a buffer between the neighborhood. This is the end of Mockingbird Road. As you can see, it becomes gravel right here, and effectively this subdivision would just go straight back from here a couple hundred feet. MJSR 24-1 is a 10-unit traditional subdivision that's proposed along Mockingbird Road. The development is comprised of lots that are between 13,000 and 27,000 square feet respectively, which will accommodate single-family homes. The total acreage for the site is 4.4 acres. This property lies within the R10 residential district, as does everything else around it. Primary access to the development will be at the end of Mockingbird Road, which travels east-southeast off of Mountain Creek Road. This road's approximately 0.4 miles from the intersection of Mountain Creek and Park Ridge. The road will feature a hammerhead turnaround for fire apparatus. At less than 15 units, and additional access to the development is not required, and it will be difficult to achieve in this location. However, the developer will include a standard right-of-way to the remaining property, both for access to the owner and utility crews, and a chance that additional access becomes available at some point in the future for that to develop on that one lot.
So Kevin, will you go back and reiterate that one more time?
Yes,
There is not a need because of the number of units.
that's correct.
There is not a need for 2 entrances.
Right,
Is that right?
that's right.
And I just think we've got to understand that.
Now, if there was a large parcel there that was not developed at this time, we would typically require a
Right.
stub out to that. But
Right.
without that being the case right now, and with a large parcel already remaining there as part of this, what they have is sufficient.
But just as a follow-up to what the Mayor Pro Tem asked, if, suppose the moon and the stars aligned and at the end of Ridge Street, across from Lafayette, that new subdevelopment, the other subdivision came in, we
Mhm.
saw a large influx in housing there, combined with, if this were to be approved as well, I think the resident asked the question, is there a way that an additional street could be plugged into either Bellamy Circle or Lafayette Drive?
Anything's possible. I mean, it could be done. They would have to purchase a lot or 2 from one of the residences over there off Lafayette Drive, or the Bellamy, is that the other road?
Mhm.
They would have to do that, and then at that, I mean, they could propose a major subdivision to put a small number of lots in there. I think it would be very cost prohibitive for anybody to do that, because first of all, it's wet back there, and you're going to have to pay mitigation fees on top of that, as well as deal with bridging creeks and everything else. So,
Is it proper to ask who's the developer?
I'm sorry.
Is it proper to ask who's developing it?
J2 Land Investment.
Yeah, J2 and Press Pro Homes, which has had some other subdivisions and homes in the city.
Right.
As the traditional subdivisions typically require 5% open space with passive use in subdivisions greater than 5 acres or 20 lots, this subdivision does not require that because it's less than It's less than the 20 lots or the 5 acres. Project size also does not necessitate a traffic impact study. The developer proposes to utilize city water, sewer, and electric service to serve the proposed site. Utilities are readily available to the site and will be verified to meet standard specifications through the civil design and approval process if this plat were to be approved by city council. Road design will be the current city standard, 26-foot wide with a 5-foot wide sidewalk on one side of the road. Sidewalks are shown on that currently. They do have the 26-foot wide cross-section shown on the plat as well. The typical setbacks for single-family homes in R10 are 30 in the front, 10 on the sides, 20 on the side street, and 30 in the rear, which they have shown on the building envelopes on the plat. Typical lot sizes homes, single-family homes, I apologize. Single-family homes in R10 is 10,000 square feet. Each home in the subdivision exceeds the necessary lot size for R10. Staff has reviewed all plans and supplied feedback with the developer on this proposal. The plan is in conformance with submission requirements, lot size, and infrastructure, and staff believes it's reasonable for City Council to approve this. Planning Board did consider this at its hearing on Thursday, and they also recommended for approval.
With any stipulation?
No, there were no conditions on this
Okay.
one.
Council have any questions of staff?
And I have the plans if you want me to pull them up again.
Please do so. Kevin, at the back of each one of these, they're showing 30 foot. Is that going to be a undisturbed buffer? Or is that merely showing the setback?
That's just a setback. No, there will be some disturbance. They are going to come down somewhat close to the sewer line in this area right here for grading. The rest should be pretty far back from the property line.
Again, council have any questions of staff?
So we don't have to do a consistency statement.
No.
No,
But
it's
an
just a-
administrative approval.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion on resolution 2401.
I'd like to make a motion to deny 2401.
I need your legal justification.
Hmm.
Ms. Britt, I am correct to ask for that, correct?
Can you give me some examples? What would that entail? You know,
mainly be saying that it didn't meet one of the standards listed in the staff analysis. I think Kevin has a checklist, so you would have to kind of refute one of those claims that staff and I guess planning board has already said that this subdivision meets.
If we
Well-
can't vote it down, why are we voting?
It's simply administrative. It has to come to council because it's a major subdivision, but it's not really discretionary whether or not you approve it as long as it meets the requirements listed in our ordinance. It's kind of an automatic approval.
A lot of cities.
Just for the record, I would second his motion.
well, then I was unaware of this prior to the start of the meeting. So what I'd like to request is may we put this on delay till the next meeting so we can have time to review.
Okay, first I got a motion and a second on the floor.
I'll withdraw my second.
I'll withdraw the
in
first
favor of
motion.
his motion.
Are you making another motion?
Yeah, making a motion that we place this on the next agenda for the next meeting.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to delay decision till the next meeting. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed?
No.
Raise your hands, please.
For what?
But what are we doing,
What-
yes or nay?
Those for, raise your hand. Those against, raise your hand. Okay, we'll get, decision be made at the next meeting.
Okay.
Moving on to 9B, Planning and Development Services Budget Amendment for HVAC replacements. Mr. Robinson, you want to introduce that?
Sure. Let's see. So, I think we've been coming to the end of the line for a while now, but we're really starting to hit a brick wall on our HVAC units and stuff here at City Hall. We're approaching 15 years on all those. We have replaced several things along the way, but we're getting to the point now that we can replace and replace and replace, and we're pretty much just throwing good money after bad on some of these. So we do have right now a budget amendment request of $229,500 to replace. That's going to replace 4 units. One is the non-functional HP. That's a split unit, effectively, in the assistant city manager's office. $12,700 to replace non-functional split unit in finance. $11,500 replaces non-functional split unit, and that's primarily ADDC. There is some sharing of areas where they go, but primarily ADDC and finance. And then 155 for the rooftop 2. That we've had a number of problems with. Multiple compressors we've replaced, and continuing to perform very poorly. A lot of our offices downstairs in finance and in ADDC, they've got heaters in there right now. We're really afraid it keeps getting colder. It's going to be too much to actually keep those offices habitable. We also have a large bill that we got from April for a number of repairs that happened that we did not get until September of $26,000 that we cannot cover in the current budget that we have for maintenance right now. We've also included sales tax and associated miscellaneous repairs and that cost there. One good thing about this, by doing these 3 of these items would all need a crane to access the building to replace those units. Crane run about between $3,000 and $6,000, so we are saving a little bit of money on that by doing them all at once. We will have probably another round of replacements that will be necessary, but we were going to recommend that in the next fiscal year's budget for the remaining units.
So, Mayor, I have 3 questions.
ma'am.
Number 1, and this is, Kevin, this is not, I'm just asking this. I'm not throwing darts at anybody. I'm just asking a
Mhm.
question. So, help me understand, and maybe my fellow council members, is the building here under you? I mean,
Yes, it's under planning.
under planning.
Mhm.
So number 1, we've known these HVAC issues were an issue for a number of years, right?
Mhm. That's correct, yeah.
But we've not made, and this is not thrown at you, I'm just making a statement.
Mhm.
We have not made plans for the provisions for taking
Mhm.
care of them. Is that correct?
It was going to come up in the next fiscal year. We decided to hold off this fiscal year because we thought we could make it a little bit longer, but everything's just started kind of falling off. So
It's like our houses, taking care of
it's-
the roofs. I
yeah,
understand.
it's a little bit sooner than we had wanted, but we've got to do it.
And I understand
Yeah.
that, and I will move to approve that. But I just need
Sure.
to, this goes to show that we have got to do a better job in planning. And this is not thrown at you, in planning for capital improvement plans and taking care of roofs and those kinds of things.
Mhm.
Because $229,000 to our citizens is 2 pennies. I mean, it is when you think about it. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not, but we've got to find it somewhere.
Mhm.
Is the proposal then to take it out of fund balance?
The proposal, I believe, and spoke with Michael about this, and Darren, if you want to jump in, the proposal was just to get council to approve it and to let finance go ahead and allocate it. Typically, we do allocate all repairs and all of our costs. Everything, all of my maintenance costs and everything come from general as well as from utilities.
Right, gotcha.
So they're split, and I can't remember what the percentage is, but we would let finance use the typical breakdowns
Magic
on that.
there
That's
to
correct.
figure out what funds to pull it
Right.
from.
That's correct.
Some probably will come from fund balance from several different accounts.
Yeah.
And the last thing I think I will ask is, maybe that was it, my 3 questions. Thank you.
Thanks.
Uh,
Council, anyone else have a question? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Councilmember Hall. Councilmember Dry to approve the request, second by Councilmember Hall. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
I'm gonna go sit down.
This has been the Kevin
Well,
night.
by the way,
Kevin, so.
Take a break, man, take a break.
9C, information. Mr. Aldridge, are you, I've talked to most everybody, are you going to MLK breakfast
Yeah, yes, sir.
Saturday morning?
Yes, sir.
So I think the only one that needs to let you know is going to be Councilmember Hunt. Everybody
Oh,
else
okay,
is, I think, is going, and Ms. Hall has a
Family
previous
engagement.
commitment,
Thank you.
and she will not be there. Okay, thank you. Coming around the table quickly, Darren, you have anything?
no.
Mr. Townsend?
Nothing.
Mr. Bramlett?
Nope.
Mr. Aldridge?
A couple things real quick, Your Honor. I had a constituent, and I think this constituent has maybe talked with some of you all about it. The construction out there on Barnard Road, right in front of East Albemarle Express Loop, there at the corner of the Shell, where the Shell station comes into the highway there. A ton of construction going on out there with the state. As all of you know, we've got those new residences, apartments, whatever they are back there near the back of that, getting a lot of foot traffic on there. So I'd like for the city to, I don't know if we have it in our budget. I don't know. I think that would be more or less a DOT issue because they're putting the road in, I guess. But I'd like to, if there's a way that we could work with or look at potentially put some sidewalks in out there. I think it's a pretty hazardous situation with the level of foot traffic that you have out there. So that's definitely something that I would like staff to take a look at for sure.
We asked staff to look at it, and Mr. Robinson, you can tell what kind of funds you have in the other sidewalk projects.
That's a lot. Mr. Mayor, did you and I talk about that, or did, because I'd gotten it from Tony Furr.
That's where
With
it belongs.
You and I
regards to
talked
the-
about it.
We did, yeah.
Can I
That-
clarify real quick?
That is a city road, but state is doing the project.
Right.
So we'll have to figure out where the funding's gonna come from.
We were talking about Barnard Poplin
Yes.
going up past the gas station towards Uwari Trail.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, he's actually talking about Hill
Hill
Cove
Cove.
and part of Bonner Property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine. We have had, we've had a few, I don't know that we have enough to go all the way up there, but we have been looking at, one of the options would be to go from Grandview up to the roundabout. We hadn't looked at going further north than that, but we may see what we've got if we can go in that district, if we can go up and around on Hilco too. We'll just have to see how much we have. We do have some funds in there for that though.
Because that's this constituent was specifically talking about right there at the back of the Shell station in front of the express loop, going on down, making the turn up near where the EMS base is at.
Yeah. We may have enough. We'll have to check into that and see.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Second thing, Your Honor, did we ever have anybody look at those, that green sign, City of Albemarle
Yes,
sign?
ADDC is gonna take care of that.
Okay. Last question. I'm seeing a lot of gutter cleaning, leaf removal signs, and basically in every ditch in town, in a lot of these neighborhoods. Is that admissible? Do we have a city ordinance against that or no?
What kind of signs?
Gutter
Gutter remove or gutter
Oh,
cleaning. leaf
Companies that
removal.
come do that.
Mr. Robinson, you wanna address that?
I mean, I know that number. If anybody needs their gutters cleaned, I know that number by heart. I've seen so many signs, so.
We do have
Kevin, right
an
back up
ordinance,
there.
but let's let Mr. Robinson address it.
Yeah, we haven't, we got a couple different ordinances. First, if they're in the right of way, let my staff know, and they will pull those. We are going through and trying to do some sweeps right now. I pulled some just the other day. Greg's been pulling some, and he's going to get back out this week and pull those. If it's across the property line onto the private property, we can't just go in there and pull them. We have to cite them and give them we typically give them a warning letter about it and ask them to remove them.
Yeah.
We have something in there, I believe if it's you've got somebody that's done pest control or something, or there's construction going on, they can have a sign there while they're doing it, and up to 7 days afterwards, at that point, it has to be removed.
Quite a few on Yadkin Street, Hawthorne Avenue, over near Melcor.
And a lot of those are,
Political sign.
yeah, a lot of, we don't touch political signs.
We what?
We don't touch political signs.
Political signs have a special state law that governs them.
Yeah, there's they have some requirements that they've been removed after a certain period of time too, but they're allowed to go in a lot more places. Primarily commercial signs is what we're enforcing.
Well, I agree, they look terrible.
Yep, I agree. And yeah, we will be doing another sweep, and any of those that we find on the properties, we will, we'll send them citations. That does take a little while to get those resolved though.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hall?
A couple things. Number one, Friday, this past Friday, I was at a COG meeting in Charlotte with newly elected local officials for COG, and I went because I've had, not that I'm newly elected, but just had some experience. But Tom Tillis spoke, and one of the things that I found very interesting about his comments was when he was in local government, and I told him later, I said, I remember when you were in local government before you went to the North Carolina House and straight to the speaker's seat. I remember those days. And one of the things that he always did then, and he has done now, particularly in Congress, is to look at everything from every aspect. And I complimented him on that. One of the comments that he made in his presentation, too, that just stood out big time with me is that we are all in a day and live in a day of conflict resolution. And we've all got to practice that and live that because everybody's in it. But the other thing he said was he reminded us that our region, the Charlotte region of 9 counties, and is going to double in population by 2045. And we have been hearing that. Although it was going to double in 2000, it was going to double by 2035, and I think probably it did or was close. But they're saying that our 9-county region, Charlotte, surrounding counties, put your an hour around Charlotte is going to double. And he said this, and I said this to somebody earlier today when they gave me a call. I quote Tom Tillis. If you're not growing, and that even means residential, if you're not growing, you're dying. Because he said the people are coming, whether we want them to come or not. North Carolina is going to be a place that people want to be. So that when I heard that the other day, it hit me because we've seen a lot of possible growth in somebody's own.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from.
Is that not down your way?
It's not me, though. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I hear it.
Yeah,
I
I've been
hear
hearing it
I
too.
hear something. And the second, I'll go to the second thing, and this is another Kevin. Where is Kevin?
He's right here. He didn't
Kevin,
go
you
far.
didn't go very far because I just have a question. So I was looking over the weekend, had some downtime, looking at old things we've been doing in the last couple of months, and came up with your presentation from the September planning meeting.
Mhm.
So I pulled out that sheet,
Mhm.
which was gorgeous. Are we pretty much where we need to be on there? Do we have a steering committee?
No, we don't. We don't right now. We have selected Central Carolina as as our consultant on the plan, but they were significantly cheaper than all the others, and I think they also have a better idea on. They're more familiar with Albemarle and having done Stanley County's plan recently and worked here. We thought they were a better fit. They are backed up until June or July. So what we're doing right now is looking to see what items from there we can work with them on remotely, and we can kind of get ahead of on this spring before they come in and actually kind of dig into the teeth of everything.
Gotcha.
Surveys, community surveys, and some neighborhood surveys. Those are one of the things that we're working on, and we can do that largely with existing staff and just kind of float some ideas to them.
And I guess the reason I was really questioning it is just because you had it so nicely planned out here, and I know. Stay up, because the other question I have is, when might we get a list of what commercial and residential where we're working on those violations?
Yeah, I've spoken with Greg about that
Okay.
From the last meeting, and I think we were planning on doing that in February. I didn't want to put that on there because obviously we've got so much stuff on a couple of
Right.
these meetings. So we're just trying to find a meeting. We don't have quite as many things, and we're going to put
And
that
maybe
in
in
there for
2
you.
weeks, if we could get, that would be great.
If we can, yeah. Depending
Okay.
on what we have in there, then we will.
I would love to see that as soon as possible, because
Sure.
I can't believe, when you think about it, we close our eyes and we're in month 8.
Mhm.
of a fiscal year.
Mhm.
You know, and so what are we gonna use our money for?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
And the last thing I'll just add, Darren, with Michael's absence, did he mention to you when we might get an update on public housing?
No, he did not, but I think we could do that in the next month or
Okay,
so.
I asked last month I asked at our last meeting when we might would do that, so,
Right, there's
Okay.
some organizational changes that I think we'd like to report on in the next meeting or
and
two.
I particularly wanna know where we are about fiscal stuff, how many apartments are not ready or filled and those kinds of things. I mean, there for a while, we were hearing about it very regularly, and that's the same ask I had of Michael at the last meeting, so I'd love to know that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Whitney, Mr. Dry.
This past year, we've lost a lot of folks who grew up in Albemarle and made great contributions, not only to our state, but actually throughout the country. And we just lost Ed Crutchfield. And I don't think you can look at a career and say, if I had the opportunity to do that and at 32 years old, become the youngest major bank president in the country, speaks well of our little city, which is going to continue to grow. But again, we've had tremendous folks come out of Albemarle, Stanley County that have made tremendous contributions, and I just would not let this go without thanking the family for all of their contributions, from the campus out in Locust to the other philanthropic things that they have done in our city and county.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt.
No, sir.
Council, I'll entertain a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to 143, 318, 11, 3, 4, and 6.
And
Which
for,
would be
Yeah.
consult with the attorney, economic development, and personnel.
so
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Motion by
Yep.
Councilmember Hunt, second by Councilmember Hall. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Uh,
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.